What's going on YouTube? So Lexus, of course, is a brand all about luxury, and it is a luxury to be able to go anywhere you want to. That's the philosophy of the GX, and they are doubling down on that for this all-new 2024 model. It's even more rugged than before, with a new overtrail trim, more powerful, higher tech, and has the signature Lexus luxury on the interior. So is this a reliable Land Rover fighter? Let's go ahead and find out. So starting out up here in the front of the GX, as soon as you walk up to this new model, you are going to see just a radical departure from the previous generation. This thing looks tougher than a military boot camp. It is a really rugged looking SUV, and that starts up here in the front. So you'll notice we have a different type of version of a spindle grille. We still got the general shape, but it doesn't actually extend all the way to the bottom. Because this is the overtrail trim. This is a brand new and really tough trim. This has a skid plate down here, and the grille is going to be finished partially in body color down here on your lower element. Again, just to give you that more rugged design. Now, you do have some classic elements in terms of styling as well, including our signature triple beam LED headlights. These are going to have the arrowhead daytime running light, as well as your triple beams through there. A nice black accent. And you also have some more black accenting down here at the bottom and your LED fog lamps. Now, we don't have an official ground clearance figure at this time, but as you can see, it does look pretty tall. And that, of course, is for the off-road ability. And this right here is also for the off-road ability. Like I said, this is the brand new overtrail model. So we actually have 18-inch alloy wheels with 33-inch mud terrain tires. That is a very cool combination. Of course, the other trim levels will come with more conventional 20 and 22-inch alloy options. Now we have some black wheel arches around there and some black running boards. And then coming up here to our mirrors, just like the rest of this truck, they are very square with a nice gloss black accent. Of course, they're going to have all the technology you expect: heating, blind spot monitoring, power folding, and auto dimming.
Now here at the side, Lexus must have got the designers of the Scion XB to help them design this GX, because it certainly is very square, just like what we said in the front, as well as what you'll see in the rear design as well. Now, as far as the length, I'm sure you're curious as to how this fits in to the Lexus lineup. It's 197.4 inches long, which is about 3 inches less than the Lexus LX, but it is going to be right on par with that of the old GX, actually a little bit larger than the old model. Now, as far as other design elements, I do want to point out we have blacked out door handles, which is a really nice design touch, as well as a first two-tone roof option. As you can see, this model right here has it with the really cool paint color on this particular model. I absolutely love the way this thing looks. It has that real tough look that a lot of Americans are looking for in their new SUV. Now, let's go ahead and work our way around to the rear design. I won't leave you waiting too much longer on what this looks like. Once again, you're going to see a very square design theme going on here with this all-new GX. It has a very rugged, handsome look to it, but you're also going to see some elements from other Lexus SUVs brought into this. So we have a big piece of glass right here that's nice and squared off. We also have really nice and squared off LED taillights. These are going to be full-length LED, and you're going to have Lexus spelled out across the back, like we've seen on some of their other crossovers, like the LX600, as well as the all-new Lexus RX. Now, dropping down to this lower area, once again, very squared off and rugged looking. We do have some silver trim down here. And as far as your tow rating is concerned, Lexus says this all-new GX can tow 8,000 pounds, which is very impressive. And lastly, before we get in the inside, I would want to point out that we do have Lexus Safety System 3.0 as standard equipment on this all-new GX model. So every single one is going to come with all of your active safety features. But that's going to wrap up the exterior design. And if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now you've seen the exterior, so let's go ahead and check out the interior next. So I don't have the key fob with me, but obviously it's going to have smart entry just like any Lexus product. And take a look at the interior. This basically carries on the same theme as the exterior, just giving you that signature Lexus luxury, but with a really tough and rugged vibe versus the other models. A lot of square off elements, which we'll kind of explore as we get inside. But first, let's take a look at our seats. So Lexus says the GX will be offered with some new luxe leather options as well as semi-aniline leather. You do have the signature colors that you expect from Lexus, but they're offering some new earth tone color options. So as you can see on this model, we have these brown accents, which kind of remind you of the exterior color on this GX Overtrail. Now, as far as the seats themselves, you have a lot of adjustment here, including a power thigh extension. And I do want to mention that the GX will be available with massaging seats, which is something that even the top-end LX does not currently offer. But let's go ahead and climb inside and take a look at all the details. Now that I've climbed inside, let's go ahead and look at the other cabin materials. So let's start out with our door trim, of course. Over here, we've got nice leather padding through here. It's going to run along that part. It's going to have leather in the middle and soft touch plastic along the top. Of course, you got a nice aluminum door handle as well as memory seating and 4 fully automatic windows. As we move to the upper dash, all a very soft touch plastic material. We've got a nice storage shelf up here. More leather is going to run through that part. Got some wood trim here in the center console and this big section of leather for your knee to rest against. And everything in here just fits together very solidly. And like I was saying, really has this cool vibe because you have the same squared off shapes mimicked from the exterior design. Now, of course, we're indoors, so I'm not going to be able to fire up the vehicle, but we'll see if we can boot up the electronics here and check those out. Now, if you remember anything about the previous generation, you will know it was on sale for a very long time. So in certain aspects, it was outdated, definitely in the technology department. And this new generation is going to fix that completely. So what do we have? Let's start with our gauge cluster here. As you can see, full digital gauge cluster, 12.3 inches. You're going to be able to change the design. All types of information, including off-road information, will be right there in your gauge cluster. Plus, you have an available head-up display as well to project onto this really upright windshield. Now, as we pull back to the steering wheel, we've got the latest Lexus design, nicely leather wrapped. It is going to be power adjusting on this model. Of course, we got rain sensing wipers as well. You also notice the little sensor here for our hands-free highway drive assist. Of course, the steering wheel will be heated as well. And let's look at interior storage because, of course, it's a boxy SUV, so we want it to be nice and functional. One of the cool things that the GX is offering is substituting in your center console storage for a cool box. So as you can see, we got 4 bottles of water loaded in here right now, just kind of simulating what you could use this for. You've got some more storage up in front of that. You can slide back that tray. That's going to reveal to you your 2 cup holders. And then, like I already mentioned earlier, we also have the storage shelf up there so the passenger can have some space as well. Now, moving back to the console area, once again, of course, it's not running, but we do have a traditional shifter. I am noticing that because most Lexus products recently have come with the electronic one. This is a nice traditional one. Got electronic parking brake. There will be availability of a 360 camera, of course. And then we've got our 4-wheel drive controls for our center and rear locking differentials, which we'll talk about a little later in the video. We also have our drive mode select up here, some towing and other drive mode configurations. This is actually going to be a little cover for a 12-volt outlet, which is super nice. And you have 2 USB-C ports. Now let's go and take a look at the other piece of technology. Gone is the super tiny display, and now we have a 14-inch display like other Lexus products. This is running their latest software, so you've got a lot of functionality on board, including wireless Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay. You also have your climate controls built into the bottom part of the display here. So as you can see, you have a physical knob that's actually built into the display to adjust your temperature. We also have standard 3-stage heated seats and 3-stage ventilated seats on all versions of this new GX. Rising above, a frameless auto-dimming mirror with our HomeLink universal remotes. And then up at the top here, we have a traditional size sunroof. This is a early model, so we don't know for sure the availability of a panoramic sunroof. However, this is a pretty high-end model, so probably just going to have the traditional size sunroof available on this.
Now this is a very early studio shoot, so unfortunately I don't have the full specs on this GX as far as the rear space is concerned. That being said, we're in a lot of cars and we review so many every single year. This seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8", I'm 5'9". I'm looking at a pretty good amount of space. I'd say this is about 8 or 9 inches of legroom. We're on a very severe time constraint, so I can't get all my rulers out. Stay tuned for a full review coming a little bit later in the year, but a lot more comfortable than the previous generation GX model. And if you really want maximum comfort, check out the TX. Now, as far as features are concerned, here in the center we do have vents. It's going to be a nice touch. Down below that, we're going to have nice outlets going through here. We have heated rear seats on this particular model. Ventilated seats are going to be available on this GX, so that's a nice feature that you're going to be able to see on this new model. And I do want to point out the center tunnel is going to be pretty large for this GX, so do keep that in mind. Now, as far as other things, let's go ahead and turn to the door trim. The door trim is going to be a really unique shape. It does have a squared off look to it, just like the rest of the vehicle. We have a rear window sunshade on this particular model. Dropping below that, it's going to be made of pretty good materials back here. I also want to point out the speaker grill here. It says Mark Levinson. That's because there's an available 21 speaker Mark Levinson audio system on this GX. You have a standard 10 speaker audio system, but we have the optional one on this model. Now, walking up to the tailgate, the GX is no longer going to have the side hinge setup, so we do just have a traditional tailgate design here. I do want to point out, though, you can pop the rear glass independent, so that's a nice feature that a lot of people like in their SUVs that a lot of modern SUVs are getting rid of. Now, as far as the cargo capacity back here, once again, I don't have the full numbers, but it does look like actually a pretty good amount of space. I'd say this is larger than the current Lexus GX for reference, and those figures will become available later on. One thing I want to point out is that this particular version of the GX does not have the third row. So some versions of the GX will just have the second row. Some will also have the third row included, but maximum seating configuration on this car is going to be 7-passenger. There's only 2 third row seats on any GX model. Now, other thing I want to point out is that the seats do not fold flat in the second row. So as you can see, I have them folded down right now. They are going to be stuck a little bit up off of the cargo floor.
Now, of course, we got to talk about what is under the hood. As you would probably expect, the old school V8 from the previous generation is going to be gone, and in its place is going to be a 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 engine, making substantially more power than the outgoing model, actually 48 more horsepower. It's making 349 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. This is all going to be paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission, and of course, you're going to have full-time 4-wheel drive, as you would expect. As I mentioned earlier, you do have a center locking differential, and the Overtrail will add a rear locking diff as well. Now, as far as fuel economy, this is just a Lexus estimate because, of course, it hasn't been EPA rated yet, but they are saying that they're expecting 17 combined, although I think that seems a little low since the LX actually achieves a better rating with a more powerful version of this engine. Now, before I shut up the hood, I do want to mention one more thing, and that's the fact that Lexus has confirmed that there will be a hybrid offering of this GX, but they don't have any information to share about that at this time. So you're probably wondering, when might I be able to get one of these awesome new GXs? Well, Lexus says this will be on sale in early 2024, so you don't have too long to wait. And as far as pricing, of course, there's not going to be any official pricing yet. However, we're estimating about $5,000 more expensive than the current generation product, so that would put it at about $65,000 to $80,000 range for a fully loaded model such as this Overtrail. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in to our in-depth first look at this all-new 2024 Lexus GX. When you guys watch our videos and you subscribe, you help unlock opportunities such as this, where we get to come to Austin, Texas today and take a look at this all-new product to share with you guys. So we really appreciate it if you subscribe, if you're not already, and if you're already a subscriber, thanks so much. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.